Cool. So first of all, thank you for everyone coming out. This is a smaller turnout than last time. This was on purpose. We wanted to keep it kind of small and intimate for this one. There is a Q&A session. I know there's been some questions that have been asked. 100% want to go through them. But we want to make sure to answer kind of anyone's questions that we have over here. This is nice mood lighting we've got going on here. So this is the second meetup that we've done. Again, it's a little smaller than last time, and I appreciate this. I appreciate every single one of you that have come out. Make sure to network. This is why we're here. This is why we're doing. I'm also trying to live stream this, so I'm going to be walking back and forth to my computer. There we go. Cool. So we just want to get started. I move my mouse, of course. There we go. So first of all, again, thank you to every single person who showed up. I appreciate all of you. This is going to be a very nice, intimate session, so I'm very, very happy about this. Just last time, were you here? I'd love to just have a show of hands. What was the show for last time? Awesome. So new faces, some new people, some not new people. So I'm going to spend 30 seconds just going background on Mike. We don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on him. So who is he? So first of all, mega nerd overall. Computer software development, network engineering degree. So you want to talk to me about all the fun kind of code stuff like that. I'm more than happy to sit down and chat with you. Been doing product management for a decade, and I actually figured out I was a product manager and wanted to do this while I was at a meetup just like this. Serial entrepreneur. I've run a couple of my own businesses. I've run one now. I spent the last 3 years working with a couple people in this room at a Silicon Valley startup. I hold 9 patents, 3 of them in AI and 1 of them in blockchain. So this is my background in life, and this is a little bit about me. I have a lot more in this than just this, but this is my background. Today, I own a holding company that holds Milton Innovation, a consulting company, and an AI company. So you want to talk to me about starting your own business, you want to talk to me about running businesses, you want to talk to me about anything, more than happy to sit down and chat with you, even about my corporate structure, because that was a very nerdy subject I went really deep into. I'm an angel investor, part of Angel One. There's no one here today from Angel One. I'm sitting on a startup advisor, interested in AI and health tech, husband and dog dad, and mechanical keyboard and watch enthusiast. So this is me as in a nutshell. If you know me, you know that all these things are true, and spend a lot of time in keyboards and watches. Cool. So we're going to talk Milton Innovation. You're not going to hear a lot from me today, which is good. I think that everyone doesn't want to hear from me. You want to hear from our people in this room. You want to hear from the community. And if you want to be on this side of the mic, please feel free to reach out. I always have spots open, be able to come and talk about your business, what you're doing. There's a possibility too that we can just open up the floor for anyone to talk. If there's people who think you're preparing presentations, but if anyone wants to come up here afterwards, give a little spiel about what they do, looking for clients kind of current problems, I'd love to actually have that as well. So Milton Innovation, we're going to talk about what we're doing for the rest of the year. And that's just really one thing. We are doing a turkey giveaway next weekend. So December 16th or 17th, we're looking to give away 10 turkeys and sides to the community. This is going to be a nice initiative, again, on behalf of the community overall, being able to give back where needed, be able to give back to those who are a little less fortunate right now, and we're in the middle of closing a sponsor for donations. As it sits right now, it's just this community. That's really for the end of the year. That's really the only thing. Obviously, we're in December, we're approaching holiday season, a little bit less stuff going on overall, so now we're going to move into Q1. Q1 sits in kind of this meetup space still. So we're having 3 meetups. January and March will be hosted by this community overall, with February being co-sponsored by Health and Small Business. So there's an event co-sponsored by Health and Small Business that will be earlier in the morning. There'll be a breakfast with some speakers, things like that. More so kind of focus on the region level overall. More information to this to come, so please follow Facebook and LinkedIn. We'll make sure we have all this information. We'll be adding new forms of content as well. So there's a podcast coming out. I've spoken to you about some of you in this room about this idea. So there is a podcast that is coming out that's going to be about kind of a small community, about building entrepreneurs, about building small businesses, stuff like that. So Uncharted Business Path is what it's tentatively called right now, but we'll be looking to start recording that. Episode 0 has been recorded. That's just me telling basically all the listeners who will be there what it's about. So if you're interested in coming on a podcast, talking about your business, talking about what Milton means to you, things like that, more than happy to have you on. We'll be live streaming certain events. You can obviously see that I got a little bit of a camera here, some stuff going on, technical difficulties because of all the joys of that, and publishing more on all platforms. Again, we want to turn these platforms into your platform. So if you're a small business looking for let's just say you're looking for funding or you're looking to hire people. We want to make sure that this is a two-way street. We want to make sure that you feel just as home in this community as what I feel in this, because at the end of the day, it's all of us together. Awesome. So the rest of 2024. So after Q1, again, this is kind of rough timelines. I'm just trying to piece this together as we go. So the rest of 2024, we're going to be expanding into courses. So we're looking at business analytics today. What's interested in business analytics, we're in the middle of actually crafting a course out right now, a 101 and a 102 course. This is super interesting, as well as product management. So we can do very niche kind of things. Anyone wants to learn on a product, more than happy to spend time, sit down, do a 101, do a 102, be able to learn, be able to craft these kind of skills out. But also, if you want to learn engineering, if you want to learn something else, please feel free to come tell me. I can find the right person and be able to put it together. Hackathons, I keep talking about finding your co-founder here. Not all of us are technical. Some of us have technical backgrounds, but no one wants to be coding anymore. But we want to be part of hackathons. We want to be part of building something 0 to 1. So hackathons is something coming in 2024, as well as things around business financing and stuff like that. So being able to prepare your business, how to structure your board, things like that. These are all courses, structures, like sponsorship opportunities for businesses to come on board and talk about. We're also going into themed nights, so we want to make sure that everyone who comes out to here, has a good time, has some food. We also want to make sure that we have themes. So we talk about problem nights. So members of the community, members of anyone else, to come in here and tell us the problem. Probably not the community, they'll complain about a lot of things. But people with businesses have problems in their businesses overall. And this is the right group of people to solve people's problems. At the end of the day, businesses solve people's problems. So having people come in and say, hey, I have a problem doing shipping between two locations. How do I, let's just say synchronize my inventory, which I will but we'll talk about that later. Community nights, so just getting more members of the community involved, working with other communities. So whether this is working with Haltech, whether this is working with, let's say, Tech Place, whether this is working with a place in downtown Toronto, making sure we're going together. And then this one's just for Justin keyboard nights. So bringing out your keyboards, have a quick little fun conversation about them. If you're into keyboards at all, this is a very, very, very deep rabbit hole. So we want to make sure that we're having kind of good conversations overall. We want to make sure that there's other reasons to come out other than just meeting everyone, talking to them, hanging out. We want to make sure there's other just different things going on. So that's really the rest of 2024. Obviously, this is a rough timeline overall. It's still tentative, but this is kind of where it sits right now. So first of all, last of all, I guess, thank you for coming out. Again, this is not very much for me, but we're going to pass it off to Eric. So thank you, Eric, for coming out, and we'll let's pass the mic.
Okay.
I'll get you the microphone.
Hello everybody. Bear with me for a moment here. Let's see if this ends up being a mirror of my screen or an extended display. It is an extended display. That's perfect. Okay. Actually, it's not ideal because I can't see.
Space.
Oh, do you see it?
Arrange directly right over.
Oh, yeah, okay. I want it to be.
Press arrange. Oh no, I lied.
Oh, it's fine. I'll face this way. We can go with it like this. Perfect. So I'll just fire this up. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out and listening to my little spiel here about my Shopify app, which I've been building over the past number of years, called Synchro. And my name is Eric Froese. I worked with Shoss for a number of years, Mike, actually, for a number of years, goes by Shoss, at the previous startup, which he had mentioned. So got to know him quite well, and I'm excited to give you guys a little demonstration of what I've been working on, what has now become my full-time job, and that is Synchro, inventory sync. It does more than sync inventories, but that was the initial idea. And but what it does do is it makes it easy to manage product and inventory data across any number of Shopify stores. And yes, I'll breeze through this first part because the demo's not super short. Okay, so about me, I'm not actually from Milton, sorry, but I am from Niagara, and I went to Brock University and graduated with computer science. Spent a few years at a web development agency. Spent a few years working for an AI time tracking software company. I was employee number 1. It was actually my uncle's startup, so I got a whole bunch of opportunities to learn new things. Dipped my toes into basically everything from desktop applications to server software to web front end development as well. So that prepared me nicely for Firework, which was my next employer for about 2.5 years into halfway through this year, where I had to work with Shoss. Not necessarily shouting them out, but that's where I worked. And then Synchro, which I've been working on for quite a long time, and I'm excited to present to you today. So the story of Synchro. Basically, it did not spawn out of divine inspiration, but rather out of need. So my family runs a cloth diaper manufacturing business out of St. Catharines, and they had 3 separate Shopify stores, which they use to sell in Canada, separately from in the United States, and separately from in all the rest of the international markets. So the challenge with this is that managing 3 separate Shopify stores becomes difficult when all of your products are fulfilled from the same single warehouse. So you may get an order on the international store or the USA store, but at the end of the day, the product is going to be fulfilled from the St. Catharines warehouse. So it's a single inventory pool, but 3 separate Shopify stores, and each Shopify store tracks inventory separately. Now, that becomes a problem because you might have 10 of one diaper, which is available in all 3 stores. There's only actually 10 of this item, but across all of your stores, there's a potential to sell 30. So especially overnight, when you can't manually go into each store and update the inventory, you end up overselling. Ultimately, that's the biggest problem that spawned the first version of Synchro. So the solution was build a Shopify app which would monitor the inventory of all 3 stores and make sure that all 3 of them stay in sync for the same items. So it would do that based on the product SKU, which is stock keeping unit. So that was the problem and proposed solution. And on September 17, 2018, I made the initial commit to my code base with that project, which was written in Elixir, if anybody's into programming languages. So jump ahead a whole year, because this was time which I had to spend learning how to build a Shopify app. I also still had a full-time job, and I had to navigate through publishing an app on the Shopify App Store, which can be very difficult because they have lots of requirements and they're very nitpicky, which is a good thing. But on October 2019, I launched the app to the public, so it was available on the Shopify App Store. Which is a good thing. But on October 2019, I launched the app to the public, so it was available on the Shopify App Store. It was a very simple application, as you can see here. All it did was sync inventories between product that shared the same SKU across any number of stores. So I could have made this just for my parents' company, but I spent the extra time to make it such that anybody could use it. Maybe some other people had the same problem. That was my hypothesis anyway. So I got a few, first few customers, and it was just a fun little side project that I spent too much time on, considering how little really it generated in terms of revenue, but it was just for fun and learning. So next, we will jump ahead a few years here actually. So on the bottom you can actually see that's kind of the growth that represents the growth, the customer growth. And so I titled this segment of Synchro's life a side hustle, which it very much was, but it was steadily growing at a slow pace over those 3 years. And I would essentially, the way that the app grew is that I would take feedback from customers and add small features and bug fixes in my spare time occasionally. And it would only take a few hours out of my month of time. It was very much a side project. But come September of 2022, it had grown into something relatively decent. And it was paying for the occasional dinner. But I at this point, I did feel like there was something here, and I wanted to take it a bit more seriously. You can also kind of see that between here and here, there was a fairly significant, like that was like 8-month period where there was zero growth. So anyways, that was a bummer time. But that's when I learned there are cycles in the e-commerce industry. So anyway, jump forward now just 2 months. So to November 2022. So this is when I decided there's a little spike in growth, and that's because I had from being out there, putting myself out there with Synchro, I had this, customer-facing, funnel where I would get to know lots of customers, and eventually I actually ended up having a customer who I gave great support for, and they actually proposed to me to do a bunch of feature ads for them, and they were actually willing to pay me more as a result of me adding those features. So it was a bit of a risk, because if anybody comes to you and says, if you build this, I'll subscribe to it, it's a gamble, because most of the time, and this was very real throughout the lifetime of Synchro, was that a customer would tell me they will, whatever, they'll promise me the moon, and if I do something, and then I do it, and they ghost me. So this was, I assumed, another one of those, but I always had the attitude that I'll just do it, maybe I'll get lucky. So there was one significant big customer who I did some work for, and they ended up installing Synchro on a bunch of stores, and they prompted me to create the Synchro Pro tier. So up until this point, Synchro was just like pocket change for the merchant. It really made no money for me. It costed no money for the merchants. And at that point, there was no way that it would ever become a viable thing for me to do full time at that price point. But this prompted me to create a new pricing tier, Synchro Pro. And I thought maybe this could be viable. If I could get people to subscribe to Synchro Pro to access these new features, which I've made for this one merchant, maybe this could become something I could do eventually full time. So I began constantly working on Synchro with every spare moment. One thing that I learned while watching some tech YouTuber, his name's Gary Tan, but he's a part of the Silicon Valley VC scene. Anyway, he said that if you are a small company, the thing that you can do better than Google or any other big corporation is offer insanely good customer support. So that's what I did. I'd reach out, have a call, conversation with every new customer that signed up for Synchro, and I would build decent working relationships with these people, and making sure, and then they would talk to me. So I ended up in this cycle that has kind of gone through the past year, where I offer great customer support, and then I build relationships with customers, and they will make free feature requests.
Through that trust that I build with them, I say, okay, well, I'll build this feature for you under the higher pricing tier, and they would be willing to subscribe. The idea was that I would get a more high-value customer, add features, make my software more attractive to other merchants who may be looking for something similar. So I built the new feature, and then find out it was a waste of time, most of the time. But occasionally, it would lead to growth. It would be a feature which was actually very useful to lots of merchants, and it would result in customer growth. So that same formula kept me busy since 2022 of November all the way to today. So it's this segment I call product market fit. Question mark? Who knows? But according to the chart, it did seem like it, and things were growing quite quickly. So and this kept me very busy. The amount of customer support or the amount of new feature requests I got kept me busy until I had another big backlog of feature requests, and I was just building out features like a madman, and things were growing. So customer support, of course, still top priority. I increased the basic plan price, added a few more pricing tiers, trying to do, the pricing psychology with the ladders and encouraging people to, bump up. That's all kind of, interesting stuff you can read about. And then I implemented this feature for a customer. So at this point, Synchro can sync inventories and sync products between any number of Shopify stores that you have. And then one day, a customer asked me if he could also have Synchro sync orders, so that when an order appears in one of his stores, that it would all get funneled down into his main store, where he could then fulfill the order. So that actually opened the door for a ton of different use cases, which I'll show you soon. Over this time, I didn't have any documentation, so I did have to hold everyone's hand, but that was kind of the idea of offering good customer support anyways. So, and there was no marketing. This was all just the Shopify App Store bringing me customers. Yes, so, and then at this point, I've got great feedback from customers, and the reviews speak for themselves, but the customer support is extremely important, and I would encourage everybody to prioritize it. So let's do a quick little demo. I wonder if I can pause, exit. Okay. Oh, you closed everything. I have. Okay. Here we see. Okay, now we're on this screen again. Sorry, bear with me for a moment here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so like I had said earlier, Synchro syncs product and inventory information between multiple Shopify stores. So here we have this example store called Extreme Snow Sports. We have another store called Extreme Snowboards Wholesale. So this is one example of a use case which a Shopify merchant might use Synchro for. Typically, if you didn't use something like Synchro, you would have to manually make changes to the products in both stores. But with Synchro, we can easily copy products between stores. So let me just give you a quick rundown here of what we're looking at. So this is the Shopify admin. This is where you manage your product information for your Shopify stores. And here we have the wholesale store and the main store. So the main store's got a whole bunch of products in it, and the wholesale store is empty. So what I'm going to do is Synchro is installed on both of these stores, and I just want these products from my main store to end up on my wholesale store. So let's do that, and you can do that easily with Synchro by adding a tag to the products. Here, Synchro clone Extreme Snowboards Wholesale. So if I add that tag to these products, tags are a thing you can put on products in Shopify, if you're not like a Shopify expert. So after adding those tags, Synchro will recognize that and use that as a trigger to say, okay, on the wholesale store, we got to put those products. So here's the retail store again, where we can see these products. And then the wholesale store now, if I refresh the page here, we'll see all of those products have now arrived in this store. Just all I had to do was add the tag. And so now we'll refresh the wholesale online store. And I guess those products don't get posted on here for some reason, but yeah, anyway, the product gets kept in sync. So anytime I make a change to the product in, so let's use this hydrogen snowboard. So anytime I make a change to the product in this main store, let's say, so you only ever have to interact with one Shopify store. Let's just add some random information here and hit save. Synchro will immediately sync that information over to, now we're in the wholesale store again. So let's hit refresh quick. So we can see that exclamation mark got in the title and the description got updated. So this is one small example, but you can imagine that having to do that manually would be a lot of time that you don't have to spend. And this is just for 2 stores. But there's lots of other use cases which involve 10, 20, 100 stores where doing this manually would just become impossible. Obviously, another thing Synchro does is syncs orders, or syncs inventory. So if we say sell one item in the wholesale store and then jump over to the same item over on the retail store and just quickly refresh the page here. One more time. There we go. So inventory gets synced. Again, that's another thing that Synchro's just doing that in the background and keeping your inventories in sync across all of your sales channels without you having to do any of it manually, and you can sleep easy at night. So the next thing that you might want to do as a Shopify merchant, and this is another use case of Synchro, is okay, I have a warehouse here full of snowboards, and I'm selling them through my online store here. I would love if there were more sales channels available for me to sell these snowboards. And one thing which Synchro now supports, if anybody's familiar with dropshipping, show of hands, has anybody heard of dropshipping? Lots of people? Okay, so what dropshipping allows is for a third party to sell my snowboards, in this case, on their Shopify store. And then whenever they get an order for one of my products, the order is routed to me for fulfillment direct to the customer. And so it's a seamless experience, so the customer doesn't realize that they're actually purchasing something through a dropship seller. But what we'll do here is just kind of simulate or show you how easy it is to sell someone else's products with Synchro. So if I've got this Extreme Snow Sports, and I'm going to direct a third-party Shopify merchant who I've built a relationship with, they want to sell my products. All they have to do is punch in their myshopify.com URL, which is here. So snowsportsmarketplace.myshopify.com. If you're familiar with Shopify, you would know exactly what this is. But what this will do is run me through an installation flow. Synchro gets easily, within 2 clicks, Synchro's installed on my marketplace store. So this is now the third party's perspective, if you can imagine that. And once the app's installed, and they pick a pricing plan, they finish off all the standard installation steps, and they can immediately start importing my products into their store. Now let's just quickly import this hydrogen snowboard and ski wax. So Synchro, this is the Synchro app, by the way. It provides this little interface where you can browse the inventory of the supplier's store, and let's go ahead and import those. And so Synchro will now create those products as a third-party seller here, which is the context we're looking at. It will import those products directly into my Shopify store as drafts, and there is inventory, it just hasn't been updated yet. So there we go, so we can see the inventory is there. And all I have to do is mark these products as active, and they immediately become available in my online store. See, we can see every, oh, I archived them? I meant to activate them. Okay. Okay, now they're active, and now we can jump over to the Snow Sports Marketplace store, view the online store. All right, now we're in the marketplace context. This merchant doesn't actually sell these. These aren't their own products. They're just selling them on behalf of the supplier store for a commission. So what we'll do is we'll just simulate a customer going through the checkout. So let's continue shopping here. Let's buy that wax too. Add this to cart. All right, now let's check out. So we've got 2 items in our cart. We're buying it through the marketplace. So this is the third party. This is the dropship seller. They don't actually supply these products. These products are supposed to be supplied by someone else. So let's just go ahead and do, I guess this. All good. And this is a fake credit card we can put in here. So we're just going through the checkout process in the third-party dropship seller store. So we'll pay. Okay, so we bought these products, and now we'll jump over again into the Shopify admin from the marketplace context. We'll see that order was created here. This is all standard stuff. But the thing that's key here is that this order isn't fulfilled by me. So Synchro needs to send this order to the supplier store for fulfillment. So we'll jump over to here, and we'll see that that is exactly what happened. An invoice was sent to the marketplace store to release these goods, and so we'll just simulate that was done. And now we've got our money from the marketplace store, so we can send those items to the customer. So we'll fulfill this, just simulate a little fake tracking number in here. Fulfill. Okay. So now the order from the supplier's perspective is fulfilled, and Synchro has also synced that fulfillment. We're back into the marketplace context. The Synchro has also synced that fulfillment over to the marketplace store. So what that means is that customer purchased the product on this third-party store. Synchro routed the order over to the supplier for fulfillment. The supplier fulfilled the order, and all the tracking and information gets synced over to the marketplace store here, the original order, and the customer is none the wiser. The marketplace store gets a commission on the order, and the supplier store moved some goods. They made a better profit margin than they would on a wholesale order, and everyone's happy. So that is the end of that part of the demo. And then you can imagine, well, I called this a marketplace store for a reason, because from the supplier's perspective, they're a dropship seller. But from the marketplace perspective, they could connect with any number of suppliers, and now you're a marketplace. So I want to get back to the slideshow. Okay, so we saw that there was fully automated product and inventory syncing. This is for the context of merchants who manage multiple Shopify stores. No problem. So we showed the wholesale example where you might have 2 stores, but another very common example is you have a brand and you sell that brand across many different geographies. So here we got USA, Australia, Mexico, any other Shopify store you might have where you want the inventory, product details, everything synced across all of them. So, and you can imagine as you add more and more stores, the benefits of Synchro really grow. So dropshipping support, we showed that. The marketplace sells my warehouse of items and marketplace store. So if that marketplace were then to go on and connect via Synchro with a bunch of other third-party suppliers, now you have a marketplace. So the amount of use cases just kind of keeps growing, and it's always interesting to chat with merchants when this is basically all just discovery through conversations merchants learning that they're doing these things. So I guess challenges along the way. One thing about working on Shopify is that Shopify is really the key point of failure here. So Shopify owns my customers, they own the top of my funnel, they can shut me down. They won't, I mean, I trust they won't, but if Shopify says, hey, we've got this new security compliance requirement, so you have to get it done by the end of the week, you have to drop everything and do as they say. So that's one bummer, but they give a lot more than they take. One other challenge was taking the plunge into full-time entrepreneurship. So I recently quit my job in May, so that was definitely something I'd hummed and hawed about for a long time before doing it. And another challenge is that I can't do it myself forever, so my hope is that this continues to grow. and yeah, so that's a challenge which continues to be a reality. So calls to action, scale up, mentorship and partnership through marketing, sales, customer support. Those are all things, as a programmer, I'm not really an expert at. And I think that is hopefully where the business will need to prioritize next in those areas. And then, of course, leads. So if you know a merchant who has multiple stores, if you want to build a marketplace, consider using Synchro as your foundation, because, for example, say you wanted to, and any brick and mortar store that uses Shopify point of sale, even if they don't have an online store, if they use Shopify point of sale, you can sell their items and inventory will get synced. You could sell their items through your marketplace, an online marketplace. Combine that with a little local delivery thing, and you have a local marketplace. So there's just a quick little idea, business pitch, something you could build just by approaching people in the local community who are interested in putting their products for sale on a marketplace. You could build that today using Synchro as the foundation. And if you or somebody you know has a warehouse full of items which they would like to sell, they sell direct to consumer, they sell wholesale, but right in the middle there is drop shipping. You get better margins, and it's got a lot of really great pieces about it. Anyways, if you happen to know anybody who has a warehouse full of items they are looking to drop ship, Synchro is really the perfect tool for them. And they can sell through any other Shopify store. So yeah, that's the end of the demo. And I don't know, what did you have next, Shots?
Awesome. Any questions for Eric about his business?
I have a question.
Sure.
Does the wholesaler need to have Synchro?
The question was, does the wholesaler, so like the dropship seller, the seller, do they have to have Synchro? So they have to be on Shopify, and they do also have to have Synchro because Synchro needs to be installed on their store in order to, manage inventory, manage product information. It's just a requirement. So yes, the answer is they do require Synchro. Yeah.
How you can integrate it? If you have an Excel, you can how you change the database. You can accept any database to like inventory. Inventory is in the Excel.
Right.
Import it to Synchro.
Yes, so the question was about inventory from a third-party source, let's call it. But in this case, it's an Excel spreadsheet which may have inventory information in the Excel spreadsheet. So is this still, I want to end show. So if we go to Synchro here, the answer is Synchro provides a tool for that. And that tool is called, it is a generic inventory data CSV upload tool. So we have this batch inventory upload tool. Basically what you can do is if you have any random spreadsheet or data source of inventory information, you can upload that. You can change the formatting of that file so it's compatible with Synchro, but often you can just build a little function in Excel which does it automatically, and you just drag and drop it up into here, and all of your inventory can get set within your Shopify store. So yeah, sometimes merchants don't use a Shopify store prior to their relationship with Synchro, but they are willing to create the basic Shopify store even if it doesn't have an online presence, but just so that they can take advantage of the order routing, the inventory syncing, product syncing, and all the connections they can make with Synchro. So, and this batch inventory update tool is exactly what that person would need, like how you described. Any other questions? Cool. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you. All right. So from one demo, we are now going to move into Lauren. I'll let Lauren introduce herself. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn. There's some good kind of marketing content in here. We want to make sure that not just beneficial from showing off what businesses are being built, but also overall for things that the community can go on, making sure that we're building kind of good online presence. Awesome. Cool. All right, I'm going to let you take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Eric. That was an amazing presentation. Similar to Eric, I also work a little bit in the Shopify space. My role is currently with the town of Milton. I'm the Digital Service Squad Coordinator. So basically what that means is that I work with all the small businesses here in Milton to be able to help them to establish their online presence, establish their marketing plans, and do that through various workshops, coaching, one-on-one support. I also do training on things like Canva, Hootsuite, Shopify, Square, and some of the other web platforms as well. So if you're struggling with any of those, connect with me and I can assist you. As Mike mentioned, we're going to focus mostly on LinkedIn. So I kind of took a workshop that I usually would give in about an hour and a half, condensed it down to about a 10-minute presentation for you on tech startups specifically. So hopefully it's a little more geared towards you. We're not going to go too in-depth, but we will. I was like, why do I have a spotlight on me? So we won't go too in-depth, but I'm happy to elaborate on anything that you have questions on. So first of all, this is the QR code that takes you to the Milton DSS page. If you want to book a one-on-one consult you can, or with me, you can do that through this QR code. Also after, so sometime tonight or tomorrow morning, I will load this presentation as well onto that link tree. So if you get a chance, go ahead and take a picture of that. We'll have it at the end as well. So little recap just on DSS quick is, what if you don't have a website? A lot of you are starting your businesses now. You've maybe just barely started to establish your business plan, or you have an idea like Eric and you're not sure where it's going to take you. If you're looking to develop a website but you maybe don't have programming experience, or you just want to hurry and get something out there, the Shop Here program is a really good program to access. They will build you a website either on Shopify, Square, or Lightspeed. So if you're looking to get that done, all you really need is a business registration number here in Ontario. So once you have that, go to the Shop Here program website and you can get started right away. Why is LinkedIn essential for any startup? So LinkedIn is essential because it's the world's largest professional network. So if you want to be able to access investors, other professionals, there's over 930 million users worldwide. And it provides a platform to showcase your services, your products, your expertise, so that you can engage with those industry leaders and build those lasting relationships. Eric touched a little bit as well on relationship building and kind of that good customer service initiative. So making sure that people are first, right? It's going to be the people that are really going to help you to succeed. And without people and without those good relationships, you're not going to be as successful. So it allows B2B startups to target your decision makers and key influencers within your industry. So that is very important. Here's a couple of LinkedIn profiles that I kind of highlighted. Here we have the man of the hour, Mike Schoss, in the top right corner. We have Sylvia in the top left. She was integral in the AI drone development for the Milton District Hospital. And so That was her profile there. And then Jennifer is just kind of a leader in the digital marketing space. So I thought they all had really well laid out profiles. You can see kind of a nice header image that kind of gives a preview as to what they're looking for, or kind of some ideas as to what they might be providing. And then some good titles in there, kind of what they're doing, and then a description. Now, all of these were created in what we call creator mode. So creator mode, I'll touch on that in a second. So if you haven't already set up a personal profile, this slide will kind of walk you through the process. A lot of people come to me and they say, should I get a free account? Should I get a premium account? It's really up to you and where you're at in the process. So if you're just starting out, you're just establishing your LinkedIn presence, start with a free plan. That way you don't feel the rush to hurry and try to throw in things. Just having that established presence is really going to help you as you're starting to network. If you're looking to really move into that next stage, you've already kind of gotten your startup established and you're trying to kind of go to market, or you want to kind of test the waters, and you want to see how many people are interested in what's happening, maybe at that point you want to move into a more premium plan, so that way you get a chance to see who's searching your profile, who's reaching out to you. It gives you a couple more features there. So that's kind of the distinguish between the two. As far as claiming your custom URL, so when you create your profile, it'll give you kind of just a random name. So it'll be linkedin.com/whatever. And so you just need to go in and establish what you want your public profile and URL to say. So make sure that you do that. It looks rather unprofessional if your LinkedIn profile says 10242 versus your name. So go ahead and make sure that you do that. Also, complete the information. So pages that have a complete profile and complete information get 30% more weekly views. So if you really want people to find you on LinkedIn, make sure that you have a complete profile, that you've put in your work history, you've changed that URL, you've established like what are the key phrases and words and headline text that you want people to know you for, and that you've started to get those recommendations from people, as well as started to kind of establish some posts and you're liking and you're engaging with other people's posts. So make sure that you have all those pieces. And then also figure out what are a couple of hashtags that you want to really represent what you're doing as a person, right? So far we've talked about establishing your personal profile within LinkedIn. So I want to make that note because it's a little bit different when you're talking about establishing your business page versus your personal profile. So your personal profile is your opportunity to build credibility for yourself. You've worked hard, you've had a lot of life experiences, you've worked hard within your career, you've worked hard to build a name for yourself. Be proud of that and get the people that you've worked with along the way, your different colleagues, different clients, people that you've worked with, to give you those recommendations. Don't be afraid to ask for those. If you've really built those relationships, they're happy to offer that in response. So what is creator mode? So we showed those through profiles. They were all created in creator mode. So what creator mode does is that it's designed for content creators initially, but it's also great for entrepreneurs, freelancers, and a bunch of other people. And what it does is it gives you access to additional content. So you want to make sure that once you've established your LinkedIn profile, and as you're starting to build followers or starting to kind of create those relationships with people, that you're providing good content so that people want to continue to interact with you, right? So all of us, who here has a personal Facebook page? Probably most of the people in the room. Or a Instagram page. Who here is already on LinkedIn? Personally. Okay, perfect. So almost everyone in the room is already established on LinkedIn. That's great. Who here has updated their LinkedIn within the last 6 months? Almost everyone as well. How about within the last 6 days? Not as many people. So that's okay. You don't necessarily need to update it on a regular basis, but you should be at least adding or engaging with content on a weekly basis. So find things that interest you and find things that help you to stay on top. Who here listens to a podcast on a regular basis? Okay, perfect. And why do you listen to those podcasts? Anybody?
Well, to get information or learn.
Perfect. So what if you could get similar information in quick little spurts through LinkedIn? Would that be helpful? Exactly. So engaging with content and getting kind of those quick little pieces is really important. We do a lot of that as we're kind of mindlessly scrolling through Facebook. I know I spend a lot of time mindlessly scrolling. And I found that recently I've scrolled more through LinkedIn, and there's some really good, valuable insights. And the more you engage with content that's relevant to you, the more that content will populate for you. So it's a great way to kind of get involved. So what does Creator Mode do? It elevates your visibility and branding, it increases engagement, and it's easier discovery and network expansion. The only negatives to going into Creator Mode is that you can get a little bit of content overload because there's a lot of content that'll be coming in, and you have to be able to kind of filter that and determine what your brand positioning is. So you don't want to go ahead and just all of a sudden start sharing a bunch of content, because if it doesn't align with your brand goals, then it may be a little bit detrimental to what you're doing. And then also a risk of being inauthentic by not having that lack of depth, and then also offers limited benefit for passive users as well. So if you're really not involved on LinkedIn, you just have a presence there, maybe you're not ready to kind of switch on that creator mode, and you can do that at any time. So how to set up a business page. So this is kind of just the instructions. I'm not going to go into that. It's just there so that if you need to, you can look back through. And that brings us to what should you be posting. So you want to make sure, as I mentioned, that all of your information aligns with what you're looking to do for your values and your branding. So a lot of times I meet with tech startups that really don't have a clue. They have a great idea, a great concept, but they're not really sure what they want to have as their values and what they want to kind of position themselves with. They just love the product that they've created, right? So you really have to kind of walk through and kind of determine, okay, what is the longevity of this, and what is the thing that is going to make it stand out? What makes it unique? What's going to give them that fingerprint, that unique identity, right? So ensure all content aligns with that startup's values and offers a unique perspective or solution to a common problem within the industry. So I highlighted unique perspective or solution because you have to think through, okay, why is this going to be important? Why is someone else going to value it? And then really highlight those features. And then as we talk about marketing, we talk about keeping in mind the 411 rule. So you don't want, it's kind of like when you go to apply for a job and you're writing your resume, it seems very much focused about you, right? But as the employer's looking at it, they're trying to figure out how you're going to fit within their company culture. How are you going to, add to that company? What value are you going to provide? So as you're looking at creating content for your LinkedIn profile, for your Facebook, for any type of social media, even for anything where you're going to be interacting with people, is make sure that for every piece of information that you post directly about your company or about yourself, that you're also using 4 different types of, or that you're, in addition to that, posting from 4 different sources as well. So that way it's not just about your, sorry, I'm on the tail end of a cold. So it's not just about your business, that it's about what you can provide with the industry and what kind of relationships and what kind of value you can add to others as well, not just talking about yourself. So I'll give myself a talking break here for a second. What was the last meaningful connection that you made, either in person or online? Anyone want to share?
Yeah, I make them, I guess, kind of all the time. But there's just somebody that I'm actually having a virtual coffee with tomorrow. But we just share very similar thoughts on our, I guess, passion around Patrick Lindsay on Lee's work. So
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to be a client of hers. She's not going to be a client of mine. But it's just neat sometimes to have somebody in a completely different industry that obviously shares some common thoughts that you do. Just like how she always does visuals for her thoughts, and I don't do that. It's another way to get out your message by using visuals, right? So I just want to pick her brain about that. Like, does she do them on her own, whatever? But anyway, I'm really looking forward to that chat.
That's awesome. Yeah, every relationship that you build doesn't have to have a payout at the end of it, right? As long as it's mutually beneficial to the people that you're interacting with, then it's a great place to start. So working to build or maintain ethical relationships or networks, contacts with people who are or may be potentially helpful in achieving related goals and establishing advantages, right? So we're all here for the same purpose, right? Who here likes innovation? Who here is established in Milton or the surrounding area? Wow, look, we have so much in common already. So, and who here wants to see your business grow? Perfect, we were all meant to be together. So how to request connections. So like you see here at this networking event, it's a great opportunity to get to know other people that are in the same boat as you, right? No one here is leading a Fortune 500 company at the moment. No one here has no need for anyone else, right? We're all kind of in this boat where we want to network with other people, we want to help each other grow, and we want to help each other to create innovation that's going to drive our society, right? So how do you request connections? Be genuine. Don't use automated responses, right? So don't just say, hi, I'd like to connect. Like, don't use the basic LinkedIn connection phrases, right? Give a little bit of value. So if you're going to connect with someone that you met here today, then you want to make sure that you say, hi, Michelle. My family loved that popcorn. Thank you so much for providing it to me. I'd love to connect with you and have a virtual coffee to discuss this, right? Is that a more meaningful conversation than if I said, hi, Michelle, I'd like to connect. And then she has to think like, where do I know this chick from, right? So make a reminder of how you met this person if you did meet them in person. And then also talk about something that you have in common, right? If you like their tennis shoes or if you like something else, like just remind them about the good conversation that you had and that great first impression. And if you can do that, then it really helps you to establish that relationship. So try to be as personal as possible without being too personal, right? Like you're not best friends with this person, so you don't want to be like, how's the wife, how's the kids, like, and seem stalker-esque, okay? So LinkedIn groups, what are LinkedIn groups? So LinkedIn groups are a great opportunity to find those like-minded people, just like you are here. We essentially are a LinkedIn group, right? So you want to join different LinkedIn groups that are going to help you to advance, and they're going to help you to talk with like-minded people, have those virtual coffees, have those virtual meetups, people that you can discuss with, right? So they provide a place for professionals in the same industry with similar interests to share insights and experiences, right? To build those valuable connections. So how to find groups, again, just kind of a quick tech piece. And then, ta-da, Mike has already created your first LinkedIn group to join. So who here is already a member of Milton Innovation Community? Okay, for those of you that are not, you have some work to do tonight. You must go on and click the Join Now button. So, yeah, so it's a great group to join. I think that when I looked earlier, you had like 30-something followers, which is great considering the fact that it was just created a couple weeks ago. So it's always great to hop on right at the beginning of these groups too, because you can kind of help to work through the narrative of what's going to be discussed in the groups. So then that way you can help to kind of propel your own agenda within the group as well, right? So look for opportunities or groups with similar customers. So for example, I talk to people about how can you network if you're all kind of selling the same thing? Well, no one in here I think is selling the exact same thing, right? Is anyone else selling a drop shipping inventory app? Anyone? No. Okay. Is anyone else a personal coach for small businesses? No. Is anyone else offering marketing support to small businesses? Maybe 2. Okay, 3. Okay. But I'm sure there's different things that we can differentiate in as well, right? So it's not like that we're all in complete competition with one another. We're all here to help each other grow. So as you're kind of looking for these opportunities, look for things that may be similar. So social media trainers might be a great connection to work with web developers, because even though I'm a pro at social media or different networking opportunities, I may not know how to develop websites, right? I can market them, but maybe I can't develop them. So it might be a great way for us to share customer base. Engineers or software developers, maybe the software side is kind of lacking on the engineer side, so you can work together. Information security and computer systems analysts. IT specialists and AI strategists, right? There's a whole slew of different combinations that we can make. Maybe me and Michelle could work really well together because we're both working with the small business community, and that we can filter through things that way, right? Maybe there's a lot of different connections that we have where we could kind of ship people to different places. I connected with, sorry, I forget, Mohammed? Yes, is a newcomer here to Canada. When I gave my presentation back for Small Business Week in October, I met with a guy named Rashid. He has a great YouTube following here. He helps new immigrants to Canada to establish their businesses here. So I made that connection to him. I apologize. So, looking for opportunities to share the network that you have with other people that could help to benefit them. I apologize. So, introduce and engage. Provide value and insights before promoting your own agenda, right? No one wants you to just have met them and say, hey, will you build this website for me and at some point I'll pay you? Does anybody want to make a connection like that? No. You want to make sure that the connections that you're making here are not just one-sided, that you're trying to, and when I say here, I mean both within this community and on LinkedIn. They go hand in hand. So everyone in the room is worth talking to. Be authentic. Collaboration should be mutually beneficial. So find ways that as you're talking to people, don't just think through, okay, what am I going to say about my business? Think about, okay, how does what they're doing impact me, or is there a way that I can make that connection, right? Whether that's in real life or whether it's in LinkedIn groups, treat them the same, right? So just because they're behind a computer screen and you may not interact with this person in person, you want to make sure that you're establishing that relationship. So just like we said, would you go to someone that you just met and ask them for something significant? Probably not. So once you've joined a group, make sure that you're looking through and that you've read the rules and regulations. Make sure that you've shared content that adds value and that you engage with other group members' posts. So next steps would be to create and update your personal LinkedIn profile and your business page profile. So if you haven't yet created a business page, I think we've established that everyone already has a personal page. And then secondly, join relevant groups, including Innovation if you haven't done that yet. And then also create content and interact with users and build those valuable connections. So that's kind of your next steps as you're working through your LinkedIn kind of strategy. After this is kind of just the basics. So once you've kind of dabbled in that and you've kind of established all those things, then we could talk more about lead generation strategies and advertising on LinkedIn and some of the other things that are a little more in depth. But this is a great base to just get you started. So if you have any questions, please go ahead, scan my QR code or come get one of my business cards. I'm happy to sit down and have another discussion with you or answer any questions that you might have. Thanks, Mike, for the opportunity, and thank you all for coming.
Awesome. Any questions? No questions? All right, cool.
Perfect.
So I hope that you guys appreciate kind of this. I'm going to plug my computer back in, actually. 2 seconds. Alright, well, I got my computer booted back up here. I just want to say that this was a little bit different than last time. If you attended the last meetup overall, you can tell this is a little bit of a different style than last time, so I would love any feedback you can have. If you like this better or worse. While this is up here, I'm going to hopefully just readjust this. I'm going to pop the LinkedIn group up here. Please feel free to go scan this and join if you haven't. I think this is kind of just what we just went through. This is a good kind of opportunity for all of us to get together. I'm also going to go stand in front of this because, sorry, trying to stream and do this at the same time as, there we go, awesome. Cool, so yeah, feel free to come join our LinkedIn group. I think that most of you found us from Facebook, so please feel free to come join this one. We do have an Instagram page as well, so feel free to go do that. It's Milton Innovation Community, all one word. Not a lot of posting going on there, but there's a live stream going on, so that will be kind of that first piece of content. So what I would like to do is I would like to do one of two things, and I would love to figure out what you guys want to do. One, kind of a Q&A with myself, Eric, and Lauren for what's going on in the industry, any kind of business kind of conversations that we want to have. Or two, if there's any businesses that want to come here and talk about what they do, more than happy to open up the mic. There are some good opportunities in here. I heard small business coach and stuff like that. So if anyone wants to come up and give a quick 5-minute elevator pitch on their business, more than happy to do that. But I'm also happy to call fellow friends up here and have some Q&A done. So either way, so feel free to come up and if you want to talk about your business, more than happy to do that. Awesome. No takers? Cool. All right. I think that what I can do then is just leave myself open here for the next couple of minutes. Myself, Eric, Lauren, who just stepped out to go get, I'm assuming, some water for her cough. Answer any questions. I did get a sticky note, I'm going to just pick it up. I want to make sure that I answer this question. So again, this is one person's point of view, kind of from what's going on in the industry. So this question how is the current economic environment impacting funding? So being in part of Angel One and kind of seeing this firsthand, and also being from in Silicon Valley, while this is going on, a lot of capital right now is being held onto. It's not so much being deployed, and the businesses that they're investing in are a lot less risky. So a lot less kind of the MVP, the investing very, very early on with a proper product market fit. What we're seeing right now is a lot of money coming in, actually generating cash flow, unlike when you were, let's just say even 2 years ago, you can have an idea on the back of a napkin to go get funding, and that was very, very easy. Now, you have to have customers, you have to have cash flow, you have to be proven, and even then it's still hard. So what we're seeing right now is a lot stricter funding kind of requirements across the board, very much, very, very, very tight pocketbooks. Even follow-on rounds are becoming hard right now. So that's what we're seeing. I'm more than happy to answer any other questions or any other follow-ups to this. I'll kind of repeat them for the live stream overall, but if there's any questions that anyone has, kind of from my point of view, Eric from growing a business, Lauren from marketing, more than happy to just open this up. Eric's going to ask a question.
With your involvement in Angel One, how has the investment strategy changed, and are you guys deploying much capital even in this market?
Awesome. So Eric asked about the deployment strategy part of Angel One. So my prerequisite to this is I've only been a part of them for a short amount of time, but looking back for how they've done it, I do know that people have been dropping out from becoming angel investors because the market's getting tight overall. People can't make ends meet. They're not looking at investing in startups. So that's part number one. And part number two is a lot of companies that are coming in are not being invested in due to this economic change right now. So again, a lot of customers that would have built a business that was 6 months ago, 12 months, 18 months ago, kind of something that you would invest in, maybe not that short ago, but let's say 2 years ago, something that you would have invested in, it's a lot tighter now because of, it's not so much the idea phase, it's the do you have product market fit phase. Awesome. Eric, part two.
Follow-up question is similar to how previously 2 years ago when the startup or the VCs were giving out money for any idea on the back of a napkin, they had expectations of insane, rapid, quick growth.
Yes.
Have they also have they adjusted their expectations for growth along with the changing in the market, as they also have adjusted their willingness to give out money?
No, what we're seeing is we still want rapid growth. It's just more narrow rapid growth. So instead of investing in, from what I'm seeing right now, so much investing in, you're focusing on the narrow subset of rapid growth instead of I'm going to say spray and pray rapid growth. So while you're going and finding the napkins, you're finding the college kids, you're finding all these things, hoping they will all have rapid growth. What you're doing now is you're focusing on a very narrow subset and rapid growthing them. So the expectations have not changed. Question in
Is
the
there
back?
a particular industry where investors are still willing to invest regardless?
So yes and no. I would say that if you wrap anything in AI, it will be easier. Other than that, not so much. I do know that AI, everything is AI, yet nothing is AI right now, because a lot of people are wrapping a whole bunch of AI into their storyline. AI is giving you an easier sell in to do it, but that's the only one that's getting kind of the more funding. That's a little bit easier. If you're trying to build a social network now, you're not going to get funding. You're trying to build what exists, is not going to happen. AI is the one kind of piece that gives you the more niche. And then if you can layer AI into green tech and stuff like that, so very AI-driven companies are the ones that are getting more easier funding. Justin?
So if I build like an AI inventory sync application,
Yep.
I'll get funding.
You'll get funding. There we go. Yeah. So it all comes down to product market fit. It all comes down to does it solve an actual problem, and is it better than what's in market? So even though you have AI in it, throwing AI into something for the sake of AI is going to be very bad. I think some of us in this room have been in companies that you're doing things for the sake of doing things to check a box to say that you've done this before. This is one of the ones for AI. I'm very bullish on this. Putting AI into your product where you actually have no use for the AI, just to say you are checking a box, is actually going to be detrimental to fundraising because you're going to burn a whole bunch of capital for something that doesn't solve an actual problem. Cool. Any other questions? Doesn't have to be just for me. There's marketing people. There's people building businesses. There's other entrepreneurs in this room. There's other small businesses.
Like clean energy is one of like AI, solar.
Sorry, I missed the beginning.
Clean energy still having like funding or not that much?
I think that, so I don't want to say that AI is not the only one getting funding. Everyone's getting funded in some sort of capacity. It's just you have to be better than what you were before 2 years ago. It's not so much now about like, you have a clean tech idea, you want to reduce emissions, great, but it's a lot harder to get funding, not that you're not going to get funded. We have people that we're looking at right now, specifically there's people in trying to remove copper from, let's just say, Ethernet cables into fiber optics because it reduces, they last longer, there's a whole bunch of pros and cons. We're still going through and getting funded, it's just a different model now. It's not so much, does this, what's the cost, what's the delta, how much does this, what was the LTV of the customer? This is very much more profit margins and stuff like that. Awesome. Justin?
I kind of have a question for the whole room.
Awesome.
For anyone who runs a business, Eric kind of touched on it. I think I just read something from Paul Raymond a number of years back, and he said something along the lines of like, when you're a small startup, do stuff that doesn't scale. What's your one pro tip for starting your own business that doesn't scale but does exceed well?
I'll give mine. I would love everyone else's, and it's really the kind of Eric touched on it, which is like the one-to-one customer interaction. Like that you can't scale that. That's I need to do this. I need to go touch and talk to every single customer. For me, that's how I grow my businesses. Is trying to scale the unscalable is the pieces that win. If you know that Eric's into certain things, I can reach out to him and just have that conversation, connect on a personal level, and that's the way that I've seen them. So scaling the unscalable. And that comes down to a whole bunch of things, but it's mostly how do you take your time that's precious in order to go do something that you can't technically automate or that you shouldn't automate. So yeah, scale the unscalable is a great kind of like a marketing method. Anyone else want to jump on that as a business? Awesome. Okay. Cool. Anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to stop talking. I've heard enough of my voice. I'm sure you guys have too. I'm more than happy. There's a whole bunch of food in the back. I'm glad that some of it's gone. We had a lot of food last time, so please feel free. I think that I can also convince them to come take out boxes. So if you guys want us to do something, take some home. We'll never say no. Feel free to come get a drink. And I'm here until whatever, 10 o'clock, something like that. I want to be able to meet every single one of you. So if I haven't met you last time, please come up. Let's chat. I got to spend 3 seconds to wrap up the live stream here, but then I'm more than happy to do this. So if there's other questions, I'll just say thank you for coming out. Thank you for this. This is different style than last time, so please give me feedback of last time versus this time. I'd love to know kind of where you index, probably a sweet spot in the middle. But I want to make sure that everyone's having a good time. Again, this is not my community. This is your guys' community. So we want to make sure that we're moving forward together. We're moving forward as a group overall, and I want to make sure that this is valuable for everyone. So just thank you for coming out. I hope you guys enjoy your food. Enjoy, network, mingle, have some drinks, have some food, and I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
work. Who goes next? Who's this guy?
What?
People do want to does work.
Did you just stream that with fireworks?
No. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Eric. Mohammed, yeah, nice to meet you. Very good. Yeah.
For anything, sanity, culture, fine. So it's just